Well, it doesn't count it, does it?
What do you mean it doesn't count it?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. No, we had this discussion literally on Tuesday.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, where we had the 10 before, and everyone was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to the stream. Thank you for joining us on yet another Liam and Joe show. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit all those magical YouTube buttons for us. Smash that like if you enjoy the content. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching this on demand, typically you guys are the ones not subscribed. So hit that button because it's free. Thank you so much for everybody who's joining us recently. Yeah. The numbers are still going up. And hit that bell notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live or drop a new video. Spoiler alert, it's more the former, less the latter, because we just kind of prefer live content.
Yeah.
The downside with live content, especially with a stream schedule like this one, is we often get to the point where we go, what do we talk about? What the fuck do we discuss? Yeah. And I was kind of hoping in the lead up to Warhammer Fest, which we are travelling up to tomorrow, that they would be releasing even more little rules, etc., behind the curtain peaks for us, so that we can have something to talk about.
I offered you a book review.
You did. Right. I haven't read the book. I'd be offering no value.
About the lion, Son of the Forest?
Yeah. It's a whole new series we're going to start filming called Joe's Narrative Corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He literally wedges me in the corner of a room.
Name to be yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. Sounds like a great series already. We've had no new updates this week from 10th edition at all. There's been some narrative updates they've showcased on the community page. So last night we talked about our wish list for the 10th edition box set on stream. So today I thought I'd go down a slightly different route. Now, slightly clickbait title, I warn you, because this is actually a positive thing.
You do love the clickbaity titles at the moment, don't you?
As long as they're relevant, though.
They're basically spiky bits at this point.
Whoa, Joe! You just nearly got sacked. So it's slightly clickbaity, but it's actually more of a positive, okay? I want to put a positive spin on this. Before we do that, I'm going to jump into chat already. Massive shout out to Tim Chaser for the 10 gifted before we even went live. You're a hero. Big shout out to Dan Skippy, who also gifted 5. And Nordos, who chucked one in as soon as we went live. 16 new members straight away. Thank you so much. You're amazing. Liam says, love your content, but one thing we need to work on is your time management. It should be the Joe and Liam show because he's a national treasure. Joe is a national treasure who we should protect at all costs. My timekeeping's perfectly fine, though.
Don't we get on time, though?
I mean, normally we're a couple of minutes late. Hey, I watch a YouTuber.
It's Brom's fault anyway.
Well, to be fair, right, there's a few other YouTubes out there. So if we look away from 40k, I watch a YouTuber called Westy, who's often an hour late to his streams.
Yeah, and he still finishes the normal time.
So he goes live, like he goes scheduled for 11:30, and then sometimes he's not even on until 12:15, and somehow still has 3,000 viewers. So what's your excuse? And then there's other 40k channels like VT who just cancel them. So you know.
Yeah, or like there's people like Games Workshop even do it with their streams. Like it starts at 10, and it doesn't start until like 15:15.
The thing is, I must also go religiously through my pre-stream checks. Otherwise, we don't go live. So I have to do a run through, a dry run, test the audio.
Your pre-stream checks normally involve, there's a download. Well, there's an update. So you do it, and it fucks everything. So we have to start all over again.
So Windows chucked 1 billion downloads at me today, and I'm hoping it solved the issue where it just drops our USB drivers. We have to reboot the computer. We'll soon find out if that screen freezes again, like it did on Tuesday. I'll have to do a panic reboot. But thank you, Lehman, for the donation. You're a hero. And big shout out, Crisis, who gifted membership. We're now at 17 new members already, and we haven't even talked about our topic. So my topic today, Joe, because Joe literally came out to start clearing the studio like an hour ago to get it ready. And he's like, what are we going to talk about? I was like, I don't know. And I sat there for 10 minutes. I was like, what do we talk about? And so the title, Dear Games Workshop. We're so excited because I think we both are.
Yeah, very excited.
Right? Please don't fuck it up. Now, this isn't me going to go on a rant about what they did in 9th edition to make 9th edition a shit show at the end, or a hot mess. Same even for perhaps 7th edition. You could arguably say the same for 8th edition. In fact, there's a whole raft of editions you can go into and go, hey, it started strong. But the reason why I thought about this topic is because we were discussing on stream last night, and I was like, actually, I think, and I'll be interested to know your thoughts on this one genuinely. 9th edition is a core rule set away from codexes. I picked out 3 things I don't like, and that was all I could pick out that I didn't like. Thing number 1 that I didn't like was morale phase in general, okay? I didn't like the morale, how it worked, or the mechanic.
Yeah.
Thing number 2 I hated was how many actions have come into play in 40k. It's one thing I really don't like, actions. I don't think they're going to go away, but I don't like it. And thing number 3 was a huge kind of focus on competitive play with secondaries and not so much focus on other ways of playing. For example, Tempest was never in the core rulebook. It was an add-on. So I actually thought, those things aside, as a core edition, I actually think it's really good.
Yeah. I think the issue with competitive play is that a lot of the people that... It's a touchy subject, isn't it? A lot of the play testers...
I was a play tester, what are you saying?
Were primarily competitive players.
Yeah.
And when the games make codexes, it's narrative first, which means you get some weird kind of unexpected things happening, and then the competitive people go, no, like, you need to stop this because it'll be abused, and then you take a lot of the fluff out of it, like a lot of it, because when you go to a tournament, because for the man who's about to do 9 games,
yes, 10 if we include tonight,
it's you do find with a lot of the competitive scene, it's the loudest, most vocal scene.
Yes, it is, absolutely.
But also at the same time, when you go to a lot of events, it's the least Warhammer way of playing the game. Everything's cardboard buildings or plastic buildings, or like it's all just L-shaped ruins. Yes, like Tuesday, I built a massive church which was impossible to play around and completely did me over. But
it was fun.
But it's fun because in the books and the films and the novels and the YouTubes, like that's what happens. Cool stuff, fighting over big buildings that's difficult for one or both players.
But if we take away the focus on competitive mission-wise, etc., as a core rule set,
it's brilliant.
9th edition, you thought was good.
I thought it was really, really good. But the thing, everyone likes to throw around the word balance, don't they?
Balance is a word that's overused.
Yeah.
And it's overused by me as well.
I honestly don't think the game should be balanced.
I don't think it can be.
It can't. It physically can't. Like games like Bolt Action, which are vastly more balanced because every army is identically the same with a few custom units in each force. Because a gun is a rifle is a rifle, a submachine gun is a submachine gun, a pistol is a pistol. A sniper so across whereas in this game, like you've got to look at it like Space Marines are superhuman strong, but Custodians should be better than them.
So I think pure balance across the board is an impossible target. Yeah. I will give them some kudos and say that actually probably for the last 6 months of the edition, with a couple of genuine anomalies, balance they've done the best job they've ever done with balance, and they've done such a great job that when something's come out that looks wildly unbalanced, immediately they've addressed it and they've done something about it. And we've got balanced data sheets that come out frequently. And as much as I don't necessarily like the routine changes and the frequent changes, I will give them credit where credit's due and say, at least they have done something about it. If we look at editions years ago, if we go back 10 years and we look at balance, if a Codex came out that was utterly fucking busted, guess what? It stayed that way until they got a new Codex. Yeah. It just didn't get changed.
It was very rare you got an FAQ, wasn't it?
It was very
Super rare.
Yeah.
And I do like one of the things I have that has come out of the competitive scene that is both good and makes a lot of people upset is the concept, imagine here, is that all the armies in a line from good to bad. And throughout every update, it's constantly changed.
Yeah, and they've kept them.
It's constantly floated around. Like there have been times when they were like, "Here's Armour of Contempt. Now you don't have Armour of Contempt," and it threw everything all over the place.
Yeah, and as much as we've criticised Stu and MetaWatch because some of what they've said has been nonsense, if you actually look at the data they've given us over the course of 9th edition. And they've given us that Goldilocks zone that they want people to be in, whether it's a 45 to 55% win rate, right? But if you look outside of that, on the whole, there's been, a couple of anomalies. You can go maybe 5% either way of that, and you still encompass then every faction. Yeah. That's really impressive.
Oh, yeah.
It's super rare. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen an army with below 30% or above 70% win rate over the course of a longer period of time when lots of people got their hands on it and got used to it. So in terms of balance, they've done a great job, but I think you're right. Hunting for perfect balance is an impossibility, and I don't think they do that, which is why they have said Goldilocks zone, where there's a 10% differential. I think that's good. So what we're saying is, what we're agreeing on is that as a core rule set, 9th was actually quite good. Yeah. And yet, so we'll put that in a box. So we're now coming towards the end of 9th edition. How do you feel about the edition right now? In terms of playing the game on the tabletop?
Playing the game, it's a pain.
Yeah.
It's difficult. There are times when I could just happily give up.
Okay.
Tuesday was one of them.
So when we So spoilers. So when we consider that we both think it's one of the best core editions we've ever seen, and we're both currently going, I've had enough of it now, it's a mess. That means that from day one to day now, they've fucked it up.
Yeah.
Hence the title of the stream, right? They had a great edition that over the course of 3 years has got to a point where we're tired of it. Now, it could be argued, and I'm sure some of you will argue this with me in the comments and stuff, but it could be argued that we've just suffered from edition fatigue and we're a bit bored of it and we want something new and fresh. I'm gonna try and counter that with reasons why I think they got it wrong. But instead of focusing on why they got 9th wrong, we're going to flip it and make it a bit more positive. We're going to talk about 10th edition, which we know is coming soon, and we're going to talk about how they don't get it wrong and how they keep it as great as it currently looks like it's going to be. Conscious we don't have our hands on the core rule set, the core rule set could come out and we both could look at it and go, it's actually worse than 9th as a core rule set. I don't feel like that's going that way.
I'm guessing it's the best of 8th and 9th combined with subtle hints of 7th.
Yeah. That's the recipe.
Yeah, and I think that's really good. I think the problem that Games Workshop's had throughout all of the editions is very much something that a lot of people have an issue with. As an artist who can never finish a job, right? I've painted a picture. It looks great. Everyone says it's great, but I'm going to change this bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. I'm not happy with that. I'm gonna change it. So once you're done with it, stop fiddling with it. All right. Like you say to people on the bus, stop fiddling with it. All right. Just leave it how it is. It's fine.
So I mean, before we get into this, I'm gonna jump in chat very quickly because we had a load of things come through already. So chaotic failure. 10 more gifted. Thank you, mate. You're a hero. Kevin Cuthbertson, I think I said that right, became a skald all by himself.
Hero.
What a legend. Yeah. Love you as well. Thank you so much. Which means maths, 28 new members, Joe. 28 new members already. Thank you so much. Tyler says, morning, Drenga, Liam, and the National Treasure, Joe. Hey, man, how are you? Jay Court, thank you so much. Thursday checklist. 1, tune into Liam and Joe show. Done. 2, tick like button. Done. 3, donate. Done. Keep up the amazing content. Your hard work is greatly appreciated. You guys are legends. Jay, you're a hero. One of our Thanes as well. What a legend.
You can stay.
You can stay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Seeps, thanks for the super chat. Once we're all caught up with 10th chat, we should discuss your fest plans. I'm doing planning shenanigans, planigans, and I owe you both bear hugs and death company. And then, thank you so much, Seeps. I need to arrange somewhere to be at 9 o'clock-ish, 9:30ish on tomorrow evening. I'm busy up until 9. And then Saturday, I'm just going to be in fest. I have to drive home Saturday evening, though, so I won't be socialising Saturday evening. But I'll be there. Bear hugs are definitely required. Lehman, thank you so much. I would move the Sprite, Liam, just in case you spill your drink. It's not open. We're safe right now. If I open it, it comes over here. Don't you worry. It's sealed. We're good.
It gets moved.
See? Right, cool. Okay.
It goes... explodes.
I would have quit. I would have quit for the fucking year, I think, at that point. So it's looking like, from what we've seen from the GW community page, by the way, thank you everybody for the donations. You're all heroes. 10% goes to charity, blah, blah, blah. Amazing. New members, good. 100 in a stream? We haven't done that for a while? Go for it. Anyway.
Turn Joe up.
Turn Joe on?
Ha.
Turn Joe up. Turn Joe on. You're on 2. But it's because you do the same thing you always do. You put it on your lapel, facing that way, halfway down your fucking chest.
But I can't face it into my mouth hole, can I?
Well, mine's centre. As long as you don't do that constantly, they don't care.
Rude.
Every stream, chat. Every stream. Thank you so much for the donations. You're all amazing. Anyway, so by looking at the articles they've dropped on the community page for us over the course of the last, month or so, I would go as far as to say I am probably as excited about 40k as I've ever been, if I'm honest. I know there's some people in there that are a bit more concerned, some people that still really love 9th. Change is change, and we were never, I don't think, going to get to a place where every single person was ready for 10th and wanted to get rid of 9th. I've actually enjoyed 9th on the whole. There's been some bad experiences, but I will go as far as to say, on the whole, I've enjoyed 9th. I feel like, actually, over the course of the last month, I've been perhaps more negative than I needed to be, and part of that is simply because there is that potential new addition on the horizon. Now, we ran a poll in chat last night with 358 votes about whether people were checked out at 9th or not already because of the announcement at 10th, and it turned out that 78% of people that voted, of the 350, said that they were done with 9th.
Yeah, and the internet does not lie.
But I feel like like I'm in that place, and when I look at it, I'm like, if 10th wasn't on the horizon, if we didn't get this golden nugget promised to me, would I be as checked out now and so pissed off and miserable as I am? And I think actually, honestly, genuinely, if I'm being truthful, the answer would be no. I think I'd still be enjoying 9th edition. We'd still be playing competitive games. I think there'd still be certain moments where we go, this is a bit shit. But because they've gone, hey, we've heard you. We're reducing rerolls. Yeah. We're reducing auras. We're changing this. Characters joining units. I'm now going, now I hate 9th. Rather than it's a bad edition. So, how do, in 10th edition, GW make sure that they don't fuck it up? Well, I've got some thoughts that I'll throw at you. And then I want to see if you've got some similar ideas or even different ideas. So first of all, they've told us they're moving towards detachments, formations, essentially, right?
Rights of War from Heresy style.
Essentially Rights of War, okay? So the first thing they need to not do is have 10 million Rights of War per army, okay? So there's going to be an access to a number of core ones that everyone can get access to, and a number in each codex. So let's say, for sake of argument, there is 6 core runs in the rulebook. I think they might have given a number, and I might be off the mark. So there's 6 in the core rulebook, and each codex gets 6 more. Okay, so if you're playing Space Marines, Joe, you get access to 12 Rights of War. They're not called Rights of War.
In Horus Heresy, I think there's like 8 or 9
core ones.
Yeah. And then each army or each legion gets 2.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
But it's all Space Marines.
Of course. So I think I'd be okay with 6 core ones that everyone can take,
yeah,
and 6 in the codex. Gives you 12 rights of war. Again, they're not called this. This is just for sake of clarity. It gives you 12 Rights of War that's available to you. If they stick to that through every codex, and they don't suddenly go, and here's a supplement with 3 more Rights of War if you suddenly take Drukhari.
That's it. That's exactly what does everything over.
Yeah.
Supplements. Not narrative supplements with competitive detachments specific to. So, prime example, right? Drukhari Codex dropped. The same weekend, they released the Book of Rust with with the Cult of Strife detachment in it, which took an incredibly amazing codex. So you had to buy that.
And supercharged it.
And then supercharged it with the Cult of Strife one, but also means that Drukhari players have to buy a second book on top.
Yeah.
But we only then saw this incredibly turbo broken version of Drukhari for ages until they toned it down again.
Yeah.
And then like Deathwatch had the similar one. Then you had the something crusher, the stone crusher Carnifex thing, which was just everywhere.
So in chat, Zat Class, I think, 42 said they had said 12 core formations, and then maybe again 6. I still think 18, but the 8, so everybody gets access to 18 is perfectly fine.
I hope it's formations, not so. Formations is just your whole army, not multiple detachments in one army. I think they have to keep it a single.
Yes, no. So I agree with you. So that's another way I would not fuck it. I would say if you're picking from the 12 core or from the X number that's supplied in your codex, you pick one of those Rights of War, again for clarity, right? And that's it. That's your army. You build your 2,000 point army to that Right of War.
Yeah.
I think if they keep that as that, because if we think about it, actually, 8th edition and 10th edition was quite similar in terms of the detachments available to us. Just how command points worked was mildly different. I think it was done better in 9th edition, if I'm honest. And then we're in this place where we've got the Arcs of Emin Grand Tournament detachment, which is take whatever the fuck you want, with no downsides, really.
Yeah.
Which I actually praise them for it, and I think it was a good move. But I think throughout the whole of 8th and 9th edition, certain people's narrative-feeling forces have potentially felt slightly less narrative because they were confined to certain detachments, which meant they had to take certain units which they perhaps wouldn't take. Now, from my personal experience, I look at, like I said last night, my Simhan Eldar, right? It has been very difficult for me in 2 editions until the latest attachment to run an all Wind Rider list.
Yeah.
Because in 8th edition, if I ran all Wind Rider list, I think I had like 2 command points. And if I wanted to do it in this detachment, again, you start with 6. Originally, you started with 6, and you started with 6, didn't you? Spent 3 straight away on an Outrider, competitively. Okay.
I actually, controversially, I like the old system in 8th edition where each detachment gave you CP.
Oh, okay. See, I hated it.
So I thought it would. I prefer it to the new one, to Arcs of Omen, where you get 6.
So
and then you
in
spend
8th,
CP.
you started on 3.
Yeah.
In 8th, you gained something like 5 for a battalion and 9 for a brigade or whatever.
Yeah.
But you gained 1 for everything else. So as an Eldar player, if I wanted to run Simhan, I started with 3, right? I put an Outrider in, I gained 1 to 4.
Yeah.
And that's why I ended up buying things like Fire Prisms to gain 1 so I could have 5 command points.
Yeah.
Which wasn't great.
But then it's like, but now, currently, if you take more than 1 Warlord trait, and then if you take a Warlord trait and a Relic, you're down to 4.
Yeah.
And then if you want to take a second Warlord trait, you're down to 3. It's like, well, armies that really need lots of characters, but also need lots of stratagems, really get punished by the
they
new
do.
system.
Yeah. So I think sticking with the 12 core, releasing, let's say, 6 per codex for the formations, and releasing no more as supplements, that's the first thing they do to not fuck it up, in my honest opinion. I would also map this across the stratagems. They've told us they're significantly reducing the number of stratagems available. So there's going to be, again, something like 12 stratagems available in the core rulebook, and 6 depending on your detachment that you choose. Again, you'll have access to 18. That's all you get for your army. No supplements means no additional stratagems.
Yeah.
Now, I don't necessarily... I wouldn't mind if a supplement came out with another detachment and another set of stratagems, right? I don't mind that too much if that is reserved for narrative play and narrative reasons.
Yeah.
Competitive 40k should just be codex and rulebook.
Or in, like, because they're like seasons, don't they? With the competitive thing. So you've got the different chapter approves. I think the chapter, if you're going to do competitive books and you want to add stratagems, then you remove stratagems at the same time. So this season's stratagems come in chapter approved. Here's the ones you get. The previous ones you don't have access to.
Let's talk about chapter approved. Okay, every 6 months they bring out chapter approved. I really liked this change from 9th.
Yeah,
Thought it was wildly positive, with one caveat. That caveat being faction-specific secondaries. Now, obviously, we're not a purely competitive channel, but if we do talk about the competitive version of 40k, I actually believe personally that faction-specific secondaries have had a negative impact on the game.
Horrendous.
Now, GW have clearly realised that faction-specific secondaries have had a negative impact on the game because they basically went, all those secondaries we put in your codexes, ignore them all. We're going to put them all in the Arcs of Omen mission pack or the previous chapter approved. And we're going to try and balance them within that one book. And they've still not done a great job. Some faction secondaries, you look at them, some of them, for example, as an Eldar player, I look at them and I'm going, I don't know how I do that and guarantee the 15 points. Other faction-specific secondaries just require you to turn up and you get 15 points.
Yeah, like, as a Chaos Space Marine player, they're awful.
As a World Eaters player, they're incredible.
I know. And then as a Space Marine player, so the biggest faction within the Games Workshop, at any point they sell, secondary options for Space Marines are terrible.
So personally, I would urge them to just genuinely, and I say I urge them, they will have already made up their mind. The books will already be in print. I would really love to not see faction-specific secondaries in 10th, personally, for competitive.
Just more
generic.
More generic ones.
Yep, 100%.
Because you find, like, with a lot of the faction-specific secondaries, a lot of them are copy and pasted with a different name. But they're also not great ones.
I would also, if it's me personally, I would also move balanced data slates to 6 monthly from 3 monthly.
Yeah.
So I would have, for example, let's say we start at the 1st of January, okay? And that's the first new chapter approved 1st of January. At the start of April is when I would release the first balanced data slate.
I would also have a fixed date for that release. Because everyone's like, oh, what day is it coming out on? Like when, like, is it going to be used at this tournament? Is it going to be used at this tournament? We don't know when it's going to release, so we don't know what we're going to do at a tournament. If they go 1st of January, 1st of June,
That would be July, wouldn't it?
Then people can time their events accordingly. And also it means that people know that the date is here. Where is it?
I'd go 1st of January would be the new chapter approved, and then I'd go 1st of April would be the balanced data slate. 1st of July would be the next chapter approved.
Day.
Yeah. All right, 2nd of April. 1st of July would be the next chapter approved, and then the 1st of October would be the next balanced data slate. So you've still got an update every 3 months, but they're alternated between chapter approved and balanced data slates, because when you drop a chapter approved and a balanced data slate and a Minotaur and field manual all at the same time, you're going, here's a ton of changes, who knows how it's going to land.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I would do personally. I think that's another thing. Here's another thing I really urge them to do. I don't think they're going to do this one. I'm going to come out and say this now. I'm not expecting them to do this, and I'm not going to slam them if they don't do this, but here's what I would love to see them do, and I think would be an incredibly positive move. Roadmap the Codex releases for us. Because, and I also, I'm gonna actually combine this into another point, which is, do not spend 3 years getting codexes out. So here's what I would do if I was GW, and I'm not the head of business, and I don't make the millions of pounds a year that they make, so perhaps I'm just a bimbling fucking idiot, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're going to plan for the edition to be 3 years, I would look to have the codexes out within 18 months, all of them, and then the second half of that 3 year period, so P2 of that 3 years, I would then do narrative supplemental releases.
Well, in 8th edition, there was like it was like 2 every 2 months, wasn't it?
I don't know.
They turbo pushed all of 8th edition out really, really quickly, which was great, because you don't want another repeat of 9th edition where Guard didn't get a codex until...
Well, look, Guard of World Eaters have recently had their codexes and looking at them being essentially neutered now because we're indexing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I would assume, if and when we move into 11th edition, because let's not fool ourselves, people, right? If 10th edition comes out and is the perfect edition of Warhammer, and it won't be, because someone won't like it somewhere, but if it was the perfect edition of Warhammer and everybody loved it, guess what? In 3 to 4 years' time, 11th edition comes out, because they're a company and they want to make money by selling more rules. So let's not kid ourselves. It's not going to be 10th is the golden era and we're going to have it for 20 years. That's just not going to happen. But so we know there's going to be another edition. Now, if we look at 8th to 9th, 9th to 10th, they're 3 year cycles. So I'd imagine somewhere in the GW business plan is a 3 year cycle.
I swear there was a rumour, wasn't it? 10 for 10. 10th edition for 10 years or something. Mad.
That sounds like some clickbait internet nonsense.
Yeah, which sounds beautiful, but...
I don't think it will happen, Joe, because a new edition release comes with a new box set, a new starter box, normally new model releases.
I like the idea of what they originally put to us for 8th edition, where it's become a living rule set. That was really good. Like, it's going to constantly change and evolve and move and fix itself. But the problem with that system is that when you put all your rules in actual physical books and then sell those books that are then outdated, but still sell them, it becomes a problem. Whereas I think the app was a perfect way of everyone having a living rule set. Like, we've updated the app, here's everything. If you want to buy the physical copy, you can do, but you can just buy the digital copy.
So I think, knowing that there'll be an 11th, I think having a roadmap to release all of the faction rules, so even if you are the bottom of the pile, you still know you're going to get 18 months to 2 years of a valid codex before a new edition drops, is really important for people in general. I think it kind of shows you care about your fan base. It allows you to plan your purchases, etc., which arguably GW don't want, because they want you to make impulse purchases. But as the other thing I want them to do over the course, so if we think about 9th edition as a period of time, we have had continuous and constant updates from GW for the competitive scene. Balanced data slates, Minotaur and field manuals, chapter approves, even meta watch articles, some of which have been okay and watchable, some of which have been a car crash, but nonetheless they've been churning them out. What have we seen narratively? Well, at the start we saw the War of Thers, and we had all the supplements with the new Drakari rules and new Admech rules. Then it died for like a year and a half.
What I liked the Games Workshop do every once in a while, and it happens, and then it lasts for like a month, and then it stops, and you never see it for years, is the global
campaign
stuff.
So another way to not fuck it up, I think, is to make sure there is almost equal focus on the people that don't want to go to GTs every month.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, because competitive play is such a minute niche part of the...
I think it's getting bigger.
It's bigger, but it's not the biggest part of the hobby.
No, it's not.
I'd argue that the biggest part of the hobby is the casual players who go around their mate's house once a month and play a game. But they constantly buy and build and paint.
I've seen this argument in chat numerous times, people arguing who spends more money, competitive players or casuals. And a lot of people go, it's competitive players. And I'm like, I refer to other anomalies out there who have got... Like, I mean, we're not competitive players, although we're an anomaly because we run a channel, and I think about how much we've got. I know other people who aren't competitive. I think it's hard to quantify, and it's hard to actually nail who spends more money.
I would say it's the casuals, because the casuals. So when you're a competitive player, you buy an army's good, you buy it and you use it until it's not good anymore, and then the new army gets popular, so you buy it and paint it and paint it, and you do that. It just goes in cycles. To the competitive players, you'll have a peak of when a new book comes out, and then it drops off until there's an update, and then you have a peak as they pick a few units up to bump up their army, or they buy a new whole army. Whereas people who are casual, they just really love the game. Their purchases are based on just the things that they like.
Casual players will buy units that aren't very good because they like the units.
So you'll probably find that competitive would be like up, down, like
and
that.
casual's consistent.
Yeah, casual just flat.
So arguably, they maybe even equal each other out to a point, right? This will quickly jump in chat. I've got other thoughts as well. We'll just jump into this one first, right? Big shout out Dylan, who, for his first ever super chat. Thank you, Dylan. Loving the channel. Looking forward to 10th. Will you be doing how to play streams? Yes, 100% we'll be doing learn to play, how to play stuff.
Every stream with
I'd imagine as soon as we get our hand, I have an intent that as soon as we get our hands on the box, wherever that might be, whether we get a preview copy or as soon as we have to buy it ourselves, the first week of content will be Joe and I with just the box saying, this is how you play 10th. This is the rules, okay? We'll break it down. We'll take our time. We're not going to be using 3,000 points, and we're super excited because it's 10th. We're going to just use what's in the box and show you guys how that works. I'm hoping we do that for like a week.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I might even try and do some pre-recorded stuff using the stream setup, which is brave, to try and show people how it works as well, because I feel like we can edit that down into a more compact format that people can easily digest.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So yes, there is plans there, Dylan. Thank you so much for your first super chat anyway. What Master Will says, I want Chaos Great again, but most of all Corsairs. Really? You've never mentioned it? Never mentioned it.
Well, Eldar Corsairs.
Yeah.
The ones that ride
dinosaurs. Space pirates, yeah. He's got a real thing about space pirates as well.
Oh, no, they're Exodites, aren't they? Exodites.
Denarian 87. No, the Corsairs were...
Corsairs like a mixture of Drakari,
Corsair Void Scarred, weren't they? That's what they're called, yeah. That's what he likes. He likes those things. Thank you, Denarian, for the 10. If GW stopped the blow of, I have purchased 5 book supplements, you only have 2, my rules are better, and we play the same army, I think 10th will be pretty much the sweet spot and a mini golden age. I actually... that chat kind of, for me, summarises everything I think. When I talk about how they don't mess up 10th, that summarises it.
Do you know what?
If in 2 years' time, Joe who's playing... Pick an army, Black Legion.
Yeah.
If in 2 years' time, Joe who's playing Black Legion can still come to the table with just his Codex and the latest chapter approved or the rulebook and play, I think they've nailed it.
Do you know what my favourite thing about the new system is? And I hope they stick with it throughout the whole edition.
Okay.
Unit cards. They did it in 8th edition with Knights, right? Each unit has its own card, the data slate cards, the actual physical pack. They've done it for AOS. I'm bringing my Lord on his horse, I'm bringing a battle line unit, and I'm bringing a heavy, and I'm bringing this. And I only have 4 cards. That's all I need. I've got 4 little bits of cards. I don't need a massive book. If they keep with that throughout the whole edition...
I have one reservation. So the first thing they need to do with unit cards, I think, is not put points on.
Yeah.
Because they will be changing, and they will continue to do Minotaur and field manuals. And I would urge them to mainly focus on balance with points changes, because I think that's the right thing to do, because you just have that in a separate document and you update it. And then you update your app, and ultimately Battlescribe updates. But the other thing that concerns me, my reservation is, so we've seen this quite a lot in 9th, and I don't know if they're going to continue to do it. This unit's too good. And part of the reason why it's too good is because of the things it has access to. So we're going to remove the core keyword.
Yeah.
So if that's got the core keyword on its card, and then they choose in an update to remove the core keyword, that card is then out of date. Yeah. That's my only reservation. I don't know how they solve that. So I feel like each card almost needs a magnet strip at the bottom, and you just get a bag of keywords. Yeah. Like this week, it's got core.
I only play in the kitchen with my fridge.
Yeah, but I honestly, I've talked about the fact that please don't fuck it up. Sounds like it's a whole raft of things that they need to do, and I've talked about nice to haves like things like roadmaps for codexes, etc. Honestly, I think the big thing for me is making sure people who haven't yet got a codex aren't waiting for 2 years and 10 months before they get their codex. And I think B, making sure that everybody can just play with a codex, and that's it. Yeah. That's clutch. I think that'll nail it.
If you roadmap it, so we'll use the list that they're in here, right? So Tau comes out first and Guard. You know that in 8 months' time, Orcs will be out. You know the date, not the date, but you know the month that they come out. Then and the Orcs are the only army you play, and you know that you've got 8 months. You'd be like, well, actually, I know, and I've always wanted to do demons. That's only 2 months away.
I've never understood.
So I might just start playing. I'll buy a demons army.
I've never understood why they don't roadmap. So, one of the reasons why I don't understand it is because they roadmap in AOS.
They roadmap.
The same company roadmaps in different areas of their business.
They roadmap at the start. They did a roadmap at the start of 8th edition because they were like, "This is coming quickly. This is when it happens." But what I hate is when they're like, "Here's a roadmap. Here's 12 months. There's a book in each one. Here's the first 3. We'll grade the rest out."
Yeah, that's not a roadmap.
That is infuriating.
It's not a roadmap.
No. No.
By the way, we will be releasing more books. We're just not telling you what they are. And we're just going to give you winter.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're going to give you information that we've already told you.
Yeah. But honestly, back to Denario Super Chat, like, for me personally, that is simply how they don't fuck it up. If you, like I said, if you can continue to come to the table with a single codex, with all the rules that you need, and play a competitive game of 40k, yes, you will need chapter approved. That's fine. I'm okay with that. And I think if they continue to put the core rules in chapter approved as well, and there's not. I don't think there's a single person out there that doesn't look forward to the day where they can bring a codex. I'm going to actually add a caveat. I don't even want to bring my codex. So I think if they do the army cards right, not only do you get to buy a pack of cards that has intercessors on a card, captain on a card, aggressors on a card, but it also has your rights of war on cards. So you can go, hey, I'm going to bring these 8 units, and I've got the 8 cards, and here's my 2 pages of army rules on cards. And if GW are clever, they sell you a fancy little folder that you can buy from them for £20 because it'll be inflated because it's GW, that you slide all your cards into. If I can take that card pack with nothing that I don't need and chapter approved, fuck me, that's golden 40k compared to what we've been used to over the last, I don't know how many years, right? That's amazing. Jay, thank you for the gifted 1, putting us on 29 new members, just 71 away from 100, Joe.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when we hit 100?
Take my shoes off. For the feet people.
For the feet people.
Yeah.
Mr. the Warhips is in chat.
Josh, he's lad.
Yeah, Posh Joe.
Yeah. Posh Joe.
Thank you for the day. First Blood, Slay the Warlord, Line Breaker, Perfection. I actually missed those a little bit. And there was, when you used to play ITC back in 8th edition and previously, there was a secondary called Old School.
Yeah, which was
Slay the Warlord, First Blood, Line Breaker, wasn't it?
And Last Blood.
And Last Blood, yeah.
Because it was 5 points. It was like 5 points each or something. And I've been screaming out for that to become a secondary within 9th edition.
Old School was a great secondary. I used to take Old School all the time.
All I want from 10th edition is something that has killed 9th edition for me, right?
Okay.
Right? I knew at the start of 9th edition that my favourite army was going to get a new codex eventually. Chaos Space Marines.
Yep.
I restarted Black Legion because I was like, I'm done with the Chaotic Capacity. I want to do fun. I'm going to do Black Legion. It's my favourite books. I know that book is coming because it hasn't come yet. I know it's eventually will come. So I've got time to build this army up. And I'm going to work really hard on it and get everything I get. And then the book releases and it's...
I thought the book was really good.
It was really good. It was really good.
It
had mixed reviews when it came out. I really enjoyed it, and then the more I played with it, I found a few things that slightly annoyed me.
Yeah,
but I was doing well with it. I was enjoying playing with it. I was really, really loving it. And then Games Workshop changes how that army works
completely.
And now, every time I think about running Black Legion, my favourite army, I'm like, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
Like this, nothing brought me greater joy than putting Abaddon on the table with the rest of that Legion. And now, every time I write a list, I'm like, it's just bad.
So I've had a similar kind of experience with Harlequins.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, when Harlequins came out, they were too broken. They were too broken. But they have literally put them on the murder board and just constantly battered them over the course of the last 12 months to the point where I just don't want to bring the Harlequins again. I have no interest in bringing Harlequins at the moment.
And as a company that sells models, you don't want the people that buy models from you to feel like that.
No.
Like, I understand if you're like, I want you to not want to play with that army, so you have to buy a new one.
Yeah.
But that also makes me go, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Gordon Fenton wants to see your feet on stream because he's just gifted 5.
What a lad.
What a lad.
Yeah.
So that puts us on 34.
Isn't Fenton the name of that dog?
Fenton! But yeah, he's gifted 5, so he wants to see Joe's feet live on stream. Right, thank you so much. But yeah, I like old school. But this is another thing, right? If we're going to come away from, we talked about this already, if we're going to come away from faction-specific secondaries, I'm going to go to more generic secondaries, which is what I think they should do, and I'm sure there's people that disagree with me. Bringing something like old school back, which you can generate up to 15 points, and you do like you get slay the warlord is 5 points, line breakers 5 points, first or last blood is 5. I don't know how they make it work.
I think you go first or last blood.
Yeah, of course.
Because of how the terrain works, and if you go first, I've had games where I'm like, I can't do anything to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I literally cannot shoot you. So first blood led itself into certain army builds. Yeah. Whereas if you've got first or last...
Do you know how I would do it? Actually, I know how I do it, right? You get 4 points for Line Breaker.
Yeah.
You get 4 points for Slay the Warlord. You get 4 points for First or Last Blood.
Yeah.
And you get 3 extra points if you do all 3.
4.
No, because 3 extra points puts it on 15, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Maths. I thought we were doing first, if you did First Blood and Last Blood.
No, First or Last. Something like that. But that's like anyway, that's a nostalgia thing. I miss those days.
Yeah.
And I actually think, I think ITC format previously was less... It was less fuckery with secondary objectives. One of the biggest feel-bad moments that I think I've experienced in 9th edition is when you face an army, and this has happened, I think, at times it's happened to Sisters, it's happened to Necrons, it kind of exists right now for World Eaters, and you play an army, and they go, I'm scoring points for just being here.
Yeah, like Knights at the moment, move forward, don't move backwards, get points.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. Or like, there needs to be, I'd like to see some emphasis on early game scoring, late game scoring, not just consistent playthrough, because then you've got missions that go for different playstyles and different armies.
Yeah.
So armies that like Worldiers or want to play aggressive, where the start of the game you're actually incredibly powerful, that's where you want to score your points, because late game you've got less models on the table.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got lots of, the only missions are score 3 points every turn, this is the only way you're going to win. It means that certain armies can't play the way they want to play.
Yeah.
Whereas armies like Tau want to stay back. So they want more late game.
I'm also personally someone who's not a fan of, and again, this might spark some controversy, but I started to get more into competitive when I was hanging out with Boxy from VT quite a lot, right? And we did some list theorying at the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way that someone like Steve thinks about lists for 40k, it's wildly different to the way that I think about lists. It's a whole different approach, right? I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way. His is more competitive. Mine's more about having fun and enjoying yourself.
His is, I'm putting this unit in my army because I need it to do this.
So this is where I'm going, right? Yeah. So his approach was, originally we were talking about Necrons, for example, just theorying, and he's like, so you want to take some Ophidians? It's like, why? They're pants. He's like, yeah, but they deep strike, do retrieve Octarius data, disappear, reach deep. It's like, so you're literally putting them in there as action monkeys. And he's like, yeah. I hate that. Like the fact that you look at a secondary and you go, I'm now putting a unit in that's not going to do anything but just achieve that secondary objective. I really don't like it.
That's what Scion
and you said, I think it was you said something the other day. Was it you? I think it was you that said something the other day, which I'm actually really keen on. And the weighting of points, I think, should be slightly different. And I think the weighting of points should lean more heavily towards primary. So I think you said we're 45 primary, 45 secondary, 10 for painted, and you said 50 primary, 40 secondary, 10 for painted. I actually really like that as a concept, especially now you've got the primary secondaries as well, or tertiaries.
That might have even been Eddie. I can't remember what I did yesterday, so...
I think it was you. I think we were walking back from Morrison's. I think it was you that said that. I quite like that as a concept. JCMS Meta Monday, thank you so much for the 10. Counting all custom sub-factions as only one per faction, there are 170 sub-factions in 9th, which GW currently struggle to balance. 18 detachments per faction would be more than 300 plus. Good luck with that. I mean, I think it won't be more than 300 plus, though.
I reckon what you'll probably find is you've got 12 generic. We said 12 generic.
And maybe 3 per codex?
I'd say for instance, if you're Necrons.
Have they said 12 generic though? I feel like that's only directly related to.
I reckon because
stratagems.
Every book or every army has chapters, regiments, dynasties, whatever, right? You might find is that there's 12 generic and then 1 for each sub-faction. So you'll get 1 Blood Angels, 1 Ultramarines, 1 Fists, 1 blah, 1 blah. And that I suppose that keeps it simple.
So I assumed that's what they would do.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that is what they're going to do, and I'll explain why. Because I think that gets messy, and I think I don't know how. I am really interested to see how they approach the whole Ultramarines versus Black Templars thing. I'm going to skip a super chat. I'll get back to you, Chris, just a promise. But 40k Medic super chat said, "I'll be happy if I can play my Black Templars as Templars and not generic Space Marines. I'm very, very, very interested as to how they're going to handle this. My gut instinct is currently telling me that you're not going to have a Black Templar specific detachment that only you can take and no one else can take it because it's Black Templars, simply because in early stages of text for 10th edition, they made statements like, it doesn't matter what colour your army's painted, you can use any of the detachments available to your parent faction, for example, Adeptus Astartes. So what I'm going to urge people to do, and I mean this, I genuinely mean this, what I'm going to urge people to do is I'm going to urge people to look at detachments, and rather than going, I am told that this is Ultramarines and therefore that's narrative for Ultramarines, look at the one that you think matches your narrative the most. I am curious as to how they're going to have, like, if we're going to continue to see things like, so one of the things I love the most about Templars is you get the passions and the vows and stuff like that, and I suspect we're going to continue to see things like Blood Tithe. We'll continue to see things like Miracle Dice. Because I think that each army having a mechanic which is...
its own flavour, doesn't it?
Yes. And again, that then interests me how they're going to do that with things like Templars. I don't have an answer for this one at the moment because on the one side, I want to keep it very open, very simple, not to the point where you're going, playing Imperial Fists in fucking Ninth has been a slog.
Yeah.
I want it to be, okay, I look at those rules, which were the old Imperial Fist rules that I've never liked, don't have to use that detachment, choose this one instead, which I much prefer. So I want that. At the same time, I do want people to actually feel like their army is their army.
Yeah.
That's very important as well. I don't know how they solve that problem, if I'm honest. And maybe if they are giving us 12 core formations, and I don't know if I've actually seen that anywhere, someone in chat said it earlier, maybe they just give us 3 in the Codex, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure. And maybe they give us 3 in the Codex because they go, well, we look at the core 12, and we know that number 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 10 are actually relevant to this chapter, so we only need to add in 3 more, and we've got all the flavour we need.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Back to Christios's super chat. Thank you for the 10. At the airport on my way to Warhammer Fest with my World Eaters. I'm excited both for 10th and tournament. I hope for a roadmap minimum for 2023. CSM better be good in 10th.
I'm going to be disappointed, by the way, if I don't see him with a margarita in hand all weekend.
That's
the only way I'll know who you are.
Christios, you've got to roll 40 dice. I can only do 20 because that's what one hand can hold.
I will give you an empty margarita glass full of dice.
And a big shout out, Starius, who also clearly wants to see Joe's feet. He's gifted to 10, Joe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Got odd socks on today. I've got my little socks
Puts
on.
us on 44. Yeah.
Only
6 to go for 1 shoe off.
Are we talking socks and shoes and socks, or just?
No, it depends how far they go.
My very holy socks.
Yeah. Love the Sprite right next to the laptop. What could go wrong? It's not next. It's up there. How's that? This is an empty cup. Chat. Don't you worry. We're good. We're good. Bonsai Kitty Gaming. Curious about how Deathwatch kill teams will be. That's So things like that. Right. I'm really interested. Like So in 9th we went back to Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Templars all being supplements to the main Space Marine Codex. And maybe that's what they do, though. Maybe that stays. So maybe you get your core Space Marine Codex, which will include everything that doesn't have bespoke unit. Well, actually, doesn't work, does it? Because even every Space Marine chapter has a supplement.
They do, but they don't all have. So you need to go back to 6th edition now. So 6th edition, all the Space Marine chapters are in one book. Because everyone just had one unit. And then,
but now...
Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Space Wolves are the only ones to have supplements. Because they were the only ones with specific units.
But now they've all got them. They've all got a named character that's specific to their chapter.
I reckon you could... If they massively reduce how many... I reckon we could see a culling.
Here's where I would go. I'm thinking on my feet here, so I'm now ready for chat to tell me that I'm wildly wrong. Here's where I would go with it, Joe, right? Any faction who only has essentially HQ choices as bespoke to that chapter, we're talking Space Marine specifically now, people, right?
Goes into the
main Codex.
Yeah.
So Ultramarines, they've got Gulliman, Calgaran, Victrix Guard, Targaryen, etc., all into the parent one, right?
Raven Guard,
Agrax, Agatone, or whatever his name is,
and Vulcan,
straight in. Raven Guard straight in. Everything that's just generic characters with some names. I say generic, named characters straight in. And then any chapter that has specific units that are not employable by other factions, Templar Sword Brethren and Crusaders, Blood Angels, Furiosos and Death Company, Dark Angels, Deathwing Terminators and Ravenwing, they then get a supplement with an additional formation or two. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because they're non-Codex Astartes.
Yes,
chapters,
exactly. That's how I would do it.
Or you just make it a PDF.
I wouldn't be against, if I'm honest. No, it doesn't work. This is the thing, right? I was about to say I wouldn't be against Dark Angels and Blood Angels having their own codex, like Death Guard, Thousand Sons and World Eaters.
Because they operate very differently.
But to do that, to make that work, they would have to remove a significant portion of data sheets. Otherwise, you're just making a codex.
The thing is, though, you could go, sorry, chat, I'm sorry for the people that have these armies. Right? I'm going to say it, though. If you're a Blood Angels player, you don't get Firstborn. Because they're all dead. They all got eaten by the Tyranids. Literally, Devastation of Baal, entire Blood Angels chapters were destroyed.
If you own Games Workshop, Joe, and you step out there at 10th edition launch and go, by the way, Blood Angels players, you can't use any Firstborn because narratively they're all dead, you get murdered.
You send out someone you don't like. You go, underpaid intern, off you go. Wear this bomb suit and you'll be fine. Because, it would make sense for the whole Blood Angels codex, if they're going to get their own codex, to only be Firstborn units. Because Gilliman literally turns up and goes, here is 20,000 Space Marines, Primaris Space Marines, do what you want with them.
I think you're going to get lynched. This is brave statements to make before you go to Wormfest for 3 days when everyone knows who you are and you don't know who they
you're
are.
You're a Blood Angel player, no Firstborn for you. And then you get a tiny little, a little chapbook, that's that big, teeny weeny, and that's your Firstborn narrative book.
Amazing. That's an amazing way of looking at it, Jay. Yeah. Make one codex and one index that has the chapter-specific units for all the different units. I mean, you could do that as well. That is another thing you could do. The supplement is essentially like a mini index.
But then you have to buy 2 books. This is the heresy thing all over again. You have to, if you play Horus Heresy, you have to buy 3 monumental tomes.
Yeah.
Because if you,
Soup says, sure, Joe, I'll give you my old Firstborn Death Company right before they make that statement. Good luck. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I just don't know how they solve the problem. I don't know if it is a problem. They've probably already got it. I mean, they will have already got it sorted. I'm interested to see how they do it.
I honestly don't know how you solve a problem like Space Marines.
Is it a problem though? I mean, okay, chat.
It's not
for Space Marine players. Right, here's a question. Here's a genuine question for Space Marine players in chat right now. I want to know the answer. A lot of us have whinged forever about number of books. Okay, I think that is a problem for most
people.
But
we're gamers. We like to complain.
Oh, we complain for the sake of complaint. We'll make complaints up even when there's nothing to complain about because that's part of what we do as war gamers, right? But would you rather? Would you rather back an inch onto your dad or go an inch into your mum? No, I'm joking. Would you rather just have 2 books, one's a Space Marine Codex and a rulebook and that's it, but you lose a little bit of chapter-specific flavour, or would you rather have 3 books and have a chapter-specific supplement?
I'd rather have the 3 books.
Would you?
Because there's a reason why people, when they go into Warhammer, they migrate to specific armies and chapters. They like the iconography. And normally it's the flavour. I like the flavour of Blood Angels because they're a fast, close combat army and they're all space vampires. Or you go I really like wolves. I love wolves.
Do you know what?
Wolves.
I fucking love Space Wolves, and I'm sat on an army because I just want to do it all in Primaris.
Yeah.
I don't want to do Firstborn, but all the cool wolf stuff is all Firstborn.
Yeah. Although
Space Wolves.
Brutalis are incredible in Space Wolves. Here's a dreadnought with a massive base. Stick it on an objective. It heroically intervenes into anything that comes near it.
Yeah, currently.
And it always hits on 2s.
But the thing is, but this is, I think what I'm doing here is I'm feeding into your point though. I don't care about the rules for Space Wolves.
Yeah.
They're for me, there's the two coolest looking Space Marine chapters is Space Vikings and Space Crusaders. So I've already got Siege working on the Templars.
Yeah.
I want to do Space Wolves. The reason why the Templars have gone first is simply because the army that I'm sending off to the guys at Siege to paint is all Primaris War Brethren, Primaris Crusader squads. Now, I have nothing against people that like Firstborn, and I don't have anything against Firstborn. I just personally prefer the aesthetic of Primaris. I also think that, for me personally, things like Blade Guard will look incredible in Templars because they're very Templary. I mean, if there was a unit there designed for Templars, Blade Guard were it, right?
It's like the reason why you like World Eaters and I like Black Legion.
Yes.
Because they have two incredibly different stories, characters,
100%.
narrative, and even play styles. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
If you make all Chaos Space Marines exactly the same, it's pointless then because it's just bland.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting problem to solve.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a problem, but it'll be an interesting one to see how they deal with it. When they've promised in 10th edition a reduction in the number of books that you need, they've made repeated references to having to carry 6 books and 3 like they've made those references in their articles because I've read them to you on things like the 40k show. So how they solve that for things like Templars or Death Watch will be interesting.
The thing, how not to fuck up, because they make that statement in 8th edition.
Then
they made that statement in 9th edition, right? And they're making it again.
Yeah,
right?
Right,
say it and stick to it. They're like politicians, you know? They say one thing, they do another. Right? Just be like, you only need 1 or 2 books. You need your army book, you need a few cards, you need the rule book, and maybe a PDF, or it's all on your phone, right? Right? And then stick to it. Not like, it's boarding actions. Here is a great rule set. Simple, clean, wonderful. Everybody play with it. It's like, here, have a sacrifice. And then here, have another sacrifice. Oh, no, I'm very full of sacrifice. I don't want to do more. It's just like that. Like they're like here is boarding actions. It's great. It's simple. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Done. And then they're like, here's a book. Here's another book. Here's another book. By the way,
I have a
not all
theory.
the rules for the armies are in these books, so you have to buy another book.
I genuinely, right, I have a theory, and I don't know if this is just my mind running away with itself and my imagination going a bit wild here, but I have a theory. I do not think that boarding actions was intended to be released boom, 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 like they have. I don't think they were supposed to try and get 5 books out in fucking 5 months. I don't think that was their intent. I don't think The Line was supposed to be out yet. I don't think necessarily even World Eaters were supposed to be out as fast. I feel like what they may have done is accelerated their timeline. I feel like they've listened to the community and the complaints about 9th. I have no idea if they can look at player numbers and player data. I know that the echo chamber that I live in, and I'm aware that I'm in an echo chamber of people that are like-minded with me. There's a bunch of people that said they haven't played 9th and they used to play 8th. There's a bunch of people that said they came back in 8th, they've stopped playing in 9th. So I have this little echo chamber, which to me sounds a little bit like there is a slight reduction in player base. I might be way off the mark. Again, echo chamber, right? That's the effect of being on YouTube or being on the internet and having like-minded people that surround you. And I'm glad you're all like-minded people. And maybe they've gone, panic. The share price nosedive with Warhammer Plus. The share price only really came back up again with the announcement of the Amazon deal and Carville, right? And maybe they've gone, we need to do this reset. And I think, with what you're saying with boarding actions, that perhaps was an accelerated release schedule that wasn't what was originally intended, is my honest belief. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because they've said that boarding actions is supposed to be also relevant for 10th edition.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Maybe
Anyway.
the rules stay the same.
Shovel Monkey, thank you so much for becoming a member. Straight in at Jarl tier, we have the Jarls only giveaway inside the Discord server, which is drawn at random on the 30th. And so if you are a Jarl and you're in Discord, you can go into that giveaway, click the little reaction button. It automatically then enters you. And on Sunday, the bot will randomly draw a winner. And if you are the selected winner out of all of the Jarls who have entered, and it's Jarl and above as well, so if you are a Haskell, a Thane, or an Acer, you can also enter. It will randomly select one of you, and you will win a combat patrol box of your choice that I will purchase myself from Element Games and ship to you. Okay? So it was. This is the thing, chat. This is what we do. This is our commitment to you people, right?
Anton, you should do that.
This is our commitment to you people. It used to be provided by Element Games. They stopped providing the box. Because of production issues with GW, etc. They're like, we can't keep promising combat patrol boxes. So I was like, okay, cool. I can't stop doing the giveaway. I already stopped the £100 giveaway for the 100 members. I can't stop this one as well. So we still do the Yar's Only giveaway, all right? Chris, just thank you for the 5. They get their own books like 8th. It's the simplest way, and they can get specific army rules. They have a list of data sheets they can use for Space Marines. Maybe. Zinth25, thank you for the 10. I'm expecting to see characters and units limited to which detachments they could be taken in, which sucks. I want to use Hark and Worldclaimer with my Night Lords, but I think they'll limit things. I think they will, and I kind of don't like. I don't think that sucks. I hated Abaddon in every Scale Space Marine army. I hated that.
Yeah.
He's fucking Black Legion.
It made me angry. It made me so angry where we went to a Factorum event. There was 4,000 Suns players, and all of them had Abaddon in.
Yep.
And none of them were even painted black. They just basically had their Thousand Army and then just bought Abaddon and just bonked him in.
So I'm sorry to shit on your super chat, but I don't want to see what Hark and Worldclaimer with Night Lords.
Right. Maybe they'll get Jump Pack Lords back again.
Well, this is the thing.
My mind. Right.
So this is the thing. I kind of think I get where you're coming from, but what would you like to see? Hark and Worldclaimer with Night Lords, or just better rules for your Night Lords and the access to a Chaos Space Marine Lord with a jump pack again and a cool model that goes with it.
What they used to do back in day, was that that special characters had special character models. However, right, they were like Knight Commander Pask is a good tank commander. However, there are bazillions of Imperial Guardmen and millions of tank commanders. Surely there's probably someone out there who's probably just as good as Pask, right? So you can make your own tank commander, and he can use the rules of Pask. So you go there's loads of Chaos Lords with jump packs, who probably hang around with Raptors. Maybe you could just use his rules, but make your own beautiful model.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that also goes back to the aspect of it being a hobby, right?
Yeah.
Which is something
obviously,
that...
no more than one Abaddon, though.
I mean, I'm terrible for this as well. I'll be honest with you, chat, and I'll own this one quite happily, right? I fucking hate converting. You love it.
I love it.
So me and Joe are opposites, right? And I have a real problem when you have, for sake of argument. So Games Workshop recently have sort of moved away from multi-part plastic, posable, to kind of preset poses where you can build 2 to 3 of each model, and once you've done one of each of those, you've then run out of options, right? And I love it because the dynamism of the pose, how they look, I think is great. I hate it because once I've built one of every version of it, I then have to kit bash, I think, because I don't like the idea of having 3, I don't know, Blade Guard's probably a good one, having 15 Blade Guard and they all look the same. Yeah. I don't like that.
Whereas I built Blade Guard and Ancient, and I built loads of stuff yesterday. Every single model's converted. Yeah. I just can't leave it the same. I can't leave it as the base model.
Which I appreciate, genuinely. And so I think I did it more with the Wolves than I ever did before. The simple thing that I did was buy a load of Space Wolf bear heads and cut the shields off the Blade Guard and order 3D printed round Viking looking shields because I thought it was cooler.
Have you seen Fletcher's Space Wolves?
I don't. That man is not a human.
He has taken my level of conversions and thrown a MasterCard at.
I honestly think... I think he's at Fest this weekend, and I might just walk up to him and kick him in the nuts. Do it. I think he deserves it.
That's how we build strong relationships with
his stuff. Fletcher's stuff is. If you don't know who we're talking about, Fletcher's painting. I think he is on Instagram. So he's one of the main painters, if not the main painter now for Tabletop Tactics, which is Lawrence's crew. Again, if you haven't heard of those, check out Tabletop Tactics on YouTube. You probably have heard of them because they're incredible.
On his Instagram, he's done videos of him converting up his Space Wolf.
Fletcher's amazing, and he's a nice guy as well, right? That's one of the important.
And he's
things.
I painted this like gold tier level commission painting model. Oh, it took me 20 minutes with contrast.
Yeah,
I never let it dry.
But once. I think if they gave you the option to build a cool as hell Chaos Lord with jump pack that you could convert a bit, but otherwise it gave you a cool sprue as a base. Yeah, there's a balancing act to be struck as well, right? They have to get the balancing act struck between a named character and a non-named character because they don't want the named character to always be an auto take, but they also don't want it to be left on the shelf the whole time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like what also annoys me is when you get special named characters who have got points and a decent skill level, but then you can make a better homebrew character.
Jay Court, when you were talking about Blood Angels, has said, thank you for the 5, by the way. Joe has gone from National Treasure to Dead Man Walking in one statement. Donarian, thank you for the 10. Solution equals right of war. Primaris only army that has different rules but restricted data sheets. So if you want to run Primaris only, there is fluff for it. P.S. Please protect Joe at Fest.
I want a cordon of men around me.
Yes, he always wants men around him.
Yeah.
Facing in normally. Drake, thank you for the 5. Sell card set with a single card for chapter rules. Yeah, absolutely. I think they should do that. That'd be cool. Thursday, Jimmy, thank you for the 20. The World Eaters release screams GW needed money. Primarchs are money printers, but the model lineup feels incomplete. So corporate might have rushed the release to have capital ASAP. The Lions release is more evidence. Maybe, but haven't they made, like in the last year, haven't they made record profits for themselves?
I don't think making money is their problem.
No. They've if I remember rightly, I'm sure I saw a financial statement for GW which said they made record profits. So the feel, Jimmy, I agree with you. The way it feels is a bit off. For example, okay, and I'll give you a reason because he mentions the Lion. Why wouldn't you save the Lion for the release of 10th?
Yeah.
As a big thing. Why would you unveil the Lion at Adepticon? Maybe, and I don't know this either, but maybe the Lion was planned for 10th and someone fucked the actual release for Adepticon, which was Dante. And so they went, well, Dante's not a big deal for Adepticon anymore because everyone's already seen him.
Yeah.
So maybe we push the Lion out early. Maybe the plan was 10th. GW, I mean, and let's be fair, GW's way of reacting to leaks is actually pretty good.
So, I both agree and disagree with you, right? Because I recently read the Lion, Son of the Forest, or Son of the Woods, book, and it ends, spoiler alert, it ends with Lion meeting Dante, right? So those two are intrinsically combined within a book that had to have been written a long time in advance.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
So I think that it was purposefully chosen for them to be released on the same day.
Yeah.
But it only makes sense if you read the book.
I don't think revenue is their problem. I think they're still making a ton of money. I think they're still doing very well as a company. I'm sure their shareholders are currently quite happy. What has the share price done recently?
Gone up.
Has it though?
I don't know.
Has it actually?
I'm not a shares man.
I have shares.
Joey doesn't share.
Joe never shares, especially if it's cake.
Yeah, I love cake.
So their share price is still up.
Oh yes.
That's the year.
Oh wow,
Joe. So share price is still up.
They're doing all right, people.
Yeah, I don't think money is their current problem.
You 3D people who think that you're fighting the man.
Oh my God, their share price is well high actually at the moment.
Are you selling all yours now?
No, I'm not selling
but
shares.
like Games Workshop is going to keep making lots of money. I think it makes, although I do think it makes sense to release Dante.
They're not back at their peak actually.
Releasing the Lion pre-10th. What doesn't make sense is not releasing any faction-specific models alongside them. Or mentioning any faction-specific models alongside them.
They're interestingly not at their peak for share price.
Yeah. Okay. Because when you release the Lion,
John says, imagine if they had stock to sell, their profits would be even higher.
Yeah. Like if you release the Lion, why aren't you simultaneously announcing or showing off Primaris Dark Angel specific models? Why you release Dante, who has been Primarisified, the second jump pack character with no models to go along with him?
Based on what John said as well, that's another way you don't fuck 10th.
Have models. Have stock.
Release 10th edition boxer, make sure you've got enough stock that everyone who wants one gets one.
Yeah.
Right? Stop things like, there's a tweet from Chapter Master Valrak yesterday or the day before, and it said something along the lines of, warning at 20 to 3 in the afternoon UK time for a severe language warning coming up right now, right? It says something like, if you look up the word cunt in the dictionary, it would show these images. A guy on eBay who had the lion for $199 with something like 5 available, 29 sold. So like he's bought like 50 lions and sold them in one go, and then sold them on eBay for $200 each, right? So another way you don't fucking edition is when you have big releases, because let's face it, right? 10th edition is going to come. There's going to be more big releases. There's going to be, because let's look at what we've got in, and I don't know exactly time frame wise how this is, but let's look at what we've got in 9th edition. Okay, we gained Gravis, we gained Outriders, we gained new Necron Warriors, we gained a ton of new Necron models actually. Was the Sisters range 9th or was that 8th? I can't remember.
Bit of both. One on each side.
A whole bunch of new Astra Militara models.
You've got 8th edition Codex and you've got 9th edition Codex.
But a whole bunch of Astra Militara models, which includes new Cadians, new heavy weapons teams, new field batteries, the new Rogue and Josh, Lord Solar, Lady Cartman, right? You got all the new Rough Riders, new Kazakin, huge guard release. Eldar, okay? We got the new what are they called?
You got the new Ranger kits,
the new Rangers, the new Scout Bike Ranger things, new Shining Spears, new Avatar of Cain,
new Dark Reapers,
new Autark, new Mugen Ra, new this has been. Then you go World Eaters, whole new model range. It's been a huge addition for releases, and I don't think they're going to slow it down. Like 10th edition, we're going to see even more models. We're going to see even more releases. And another way you don't ruin an edition is when the new edition comes out, the new thing comes out, when the new shiny is released, when the new fancy kit is dropped and it goes on pre-order, make sure everybody that wants one can either get one or at least get themselves on a list to get one with a promise that they will receive one within X period of time.
I know it's not Games Workshop's fault. Like, scalpers is not something that it's their. It's not, scalpers aren't their fault, and it's not something that they have influenced. But they need to figure out a system to reduce.
But Joe, they've done this.
Reduce scalpers.
They've done this. Okay. Here's what they do, right? So let's say they've made 1 million copies of 10th edition.
Yeah.
Right? And they put those 1 million copies on their website. And let's ignore independence just for the sake of this particular discussion. They put 1 million copies on the website and they sell out, right? Yeah. And so you come to the website as the 1,000,001th person. You come to the website, you click on pre-order, you can't have it because someone has already bought the last one, so they're now no longer stock available. But it allows you to add to waitlist and says to you are purchasing a made-to-order copy.
Yeah.
So you'll pay the same amount, and we will guarantee you, because we know you're the first one, that you will receive your order within, let's say, 2 weeks after the actual release date. Yeah. And let's say you're the third million person to come. It might say that you will receive your order within 6 weeks of the release date. So it's scalable, right? If you then look on eBay and you see the lion at $310, or you think, I just wait 2 weeks, I'd just wait 2 weeks and pay the 65 quid.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, because there was a lion up for like 310 quid, wasn't there? Something mad.
Yeah. Which was, I'm very angry about that one, Jay, because that's a content creator.
Yeah.
Because there was a picture of a lion box on a table in someone's house for sale, literally the day you went up for pre-order. That's a content creator. And the reason why I'm pretty sure it was a content creator, because if you look at the seller's other listings, they also had a Dante for sale on the same fucking table.
Yeah. Well,
I was not impressed.
What he did is just, like, I don't want it to sound like these are my toys, no one else gets my toys. You just send it out to less people. Like, more people could have bought Azrael if you hadn't sent more. I mean, more things to people that never produce content with that.
Let's get one thing very clear. Although you are mathematically correct, if you send out 50 less Azraels, 50 more people get to buy him. In terms of the issue still remaining where they sell out and not everyone can get hold of them, that doesn't go away because it's not like they're sending out 10,000 copies to creators. So it's not going to make that big a dent. Mathematically, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
If you send out less lions and you send out less Azraels, more people can buy them. But in essence, it's not actually going to change the same.
Don't they do the wait list for special characters, like when they did Barnyard, Bernard, whatever his name is, the Black.
So this is what I'm saying. They've done it before, so they have the capacity to do that thing. I don't know why they do and don't. There's probably reasons behind it, but for me personally, the best way, because some people have said don't allow them to resell brand new on eBay, but then they have to have an enforcement team in place that spends their time looking through eBay, finding these listings, and then has to go legally and enforce. They're not going to do that. It's not worth their time, effort, or money to do that. But if they just always release made to order on big orders, Lion, for example, 10th edition box set, etc., Indomitus, all that kind of stuff, they do that.
Maybe you just do one per customer.
Right.
Or not one per customer, but one per purchase. So you can't go in and buy 10 Lions.
Oh, I absolutely.
So you have to do one. I buy one, I have to go back in, and then I have to buy another one, and then I have to go back in. So at least you have to go through the purchasing sale, which means that you at least get one.
So that's,
and the people in the queue still get the one that they want.
Who in the world needs 2 Lions?
No one. The only time you're going to need more, you're ever going to buy more than one of a special model is if I go, I'm swimming. I'm swimming at 10 o'clock in the morning. I cannot not swim at 10 o'clock in the morning, but that's when it goes live. Swimming's a bad example. I don't look like someone who does exercise. Right? I am driving in my car, right, at 10 o'clock when it goes loud. Right? I can't legally use my phone whilst I'm driving. So, Liam, would you also purchase me one at the same time?
No. No, fuck that. You could have a friend, didn't you?
Francis, will you buy me a Lion as well as one for
yourself?
yourself?
Run out of friends after one. Oh, amazing.
The only time you're ever going to buy more than one is if you have to buy it for someone else. But then, like, the Games Workshop, I think the problem is if you're in a stock room and you've got to pack 1,000 Lions, you're not going to care whether you're putting 1 Lion in a box or 10 in a box. Because you're like, I've just got to get them done. I don't care. This is my job. I'm putting stuff in a box. But like sometimes Games Workshop will be like, excuse me, why have you bought 15 Lions?
But so I think for pre-order they should always be limited to 1 per customer for things like that. For things like the Lion. I'm not saying for everything.
1 per unique purchase. So if you want to buy 15 Lions, you have to go in and do 15 purchases,
that can work.
And you have to pay shipping 15 times.
15 times! Yeah. Which isn't a problem, because they whacked Blade Guard in, made him 65 quid, and that's free shipping.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you for that, say Jimmy, but also massive shout out for you becoming a member.
Yeah.
It hero.
It doesn't take much to send us on a rant.
JCMS Meta Monday, we've read that one. Oh no, we haven't read that one. DLC, get this detachment from a campaign book or just buy it from an app for $5. It would be hated but also popular. I've
said this multiple times actually.
I don't understand in 2023 why you have to currently... Now, I'm a person who likes books, okay? Not all of these were sent to me. I'm a person who likes books. So I'm a person who buys the books anyway. However, in 2023, do not understand why you need to buy a book to get a code.
There's times when I'm thinking about playing this army. I do not want to have to buy a book. I can't be bothered to drive into town. I'm going to buy a book, wait 3 days, have it turn up at my house. At which point, I'll probably change my mind. You definitely change your mind.
I change my mind from the morning to the evening.
If you go, right, what are the rules for this new army that came out? 10 quid. I've bought the rules. I can now see them. And then I read the rules. I liked them. That influences my purchasing options. If I like them, I'll probably buy the book as well. Because when I'm at the table, despite what we do on stream, right? Don't bring this back to haunt me, right? When I play the game, I like to have the physical copy of the book rather than looking.
I'm gonna remind you that tonight when you're like going Vandal Scribe. But this is another thing, right? Back in 7th edition. Now, I don't know if this is a cost versus reward thing, and maybe it was too expensive and it wasn't generating the revenue they needed. But in 7th edition, you could go on to, I'm an Apple user, and I have an iPad, and you could go on to iBooks, you go find the Codex, purchase the Codex for basically the same price as the book. You get the enhanced iBook edition, and you would go to the rule section, like you'd flick through, go to the rule section, oh, it's got rending. You press rending as a hyperlink, and the box pops up and tells you what it is.
Well, the thing is, though, currently, you have to buy the book to get the code to put it on the app. You're already paying for the app anyway. So there's already a system in place for supporting the app. And they have to put all the information that's in the book into the app. So someone's already doing that job. right?
But the fact that I could just press a hyperlink and then I didn't need to go to the rule book, like because it was a universal special rule system, I just pressed the hyperlink and just brought up a box that rendering means
maybe
this.
they can now.
Oh, please, I hope.
Because now we've got universal keywords.
Zin25 back in. I'll give me Jump Lord all day, but if the only way I can get one is Harkin, I'll use Harkin and scrape the Black Legion iconography off. I get it. Like, what they need to do there is, in my personal opinion, is they need to not force you to use Harkin, but give you Jump Lords. I kind of get, IP-wise, why they might not have included those data sheets in the Codex, because they're saying we don't produce the model, so we can't legally fight if someone else makes the model that we then have rules for, is as I understand it. And I don't understand this area of business particularly well, so maybe I'm off the mark.
Yeah, but they sell rules for models that are currently Finecast.
Yes, but they still make the models.
They still make the model, but they had a jump pack Lord.
Yeah, but they might not be producing them anymore. They don't sell them anymore. But I think there are other circumstances where they're selling rules for models without the model. It's a weird.
I had to email Games Workshop for the GT about using my Gabriel Seth, about the rule of like what base is he on?
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, you don't sell the model anymore. You sell the chapter master for the Flesh Terror. You do the rules for the chapter master for the Flesh Terrors, but you don't sell the model anymore.
Exactly. So it's kind of loosely applied in places. It's a very strange one, if I'm honest with you. And that's someone's spitting out. That's why certain people use a certain website. Exactly. Wahapedia, like how GW, multi-billion-pound company, right? Multi-billion-pound company. It took a Russian man making a website to go, do you know what I'm going to do about these stratagems? Is I'm going to group them by phase and then put them in order. So if you go onto Wahapedia and you look at, and you go to Space Marine stratagems, right, and you scroll down and you just get a big box and it's got command phase, movement phase, psychic phase.
That's how you save money though, Liam. It's like, we could do it, but there's a man in Russia doing it for us
right,
already.
And then he also goes in your phase and your opponent's phase, and you're like, okay, it's my opponent's shooting phase, what stratagems can I use? And it just shows you them all. Like, how did the Russian man come up with that? And GW didn't think, like, stratagems in the book, I don't like stratagems, as you all know, but they could at least put them in order. And they've grouped them by, like, this is the thing, like, they've grouped them by war gear stratagem, strategic ploy stratagem, which means fuck all.
Heroic stratagem.
Which means nothing. Yeah. Why didn't they go...
But Dante can use a heroic stratagem for free.
But it means fuck all. Why didn't they go movement phase stratagems, psychic phase stratagems, shooting phase stratagems?
No, it's far too...
It's far too easy, yeah. Wee Man, thank you for gifting one. And then Big Bad John comes in and drops the 50, Joe.
Daddy Mikado.
Big Bad Daddy Mikado. Yeah, they said his name 3 times last night and didn't show up.
Yeah? Did you spin around in your chair 3 times?
No.
John.
Do you think that's why?
Yeah. John, I'm not going to do it again, but did you do that 3 times?
We were trying to get to, I think it was 1,200 members last night, and we needed like 60, and then John De Silva said John Mikado's name 3 times. He didn't show up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a time delay. Is he in a different time zone? That might be why.
Yeah, he's in America land.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the reason why.
Thank you so much, John. You're an absolute hero, by the way. We
beast.
love you very much here on the channel, and I'm sure every channel that you pop into loves you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, good man. Yeah. And if you think about going and finding another channel and supporting them, don't. Stick with us.
Yeah. Support no one else.
Mr. Svenholio, 1 new box. I'm thinking at least 2. Well, for the new release box, that's one of those occasions where. So here's what I want. Here's what I want. This I know that people are going to go. Well, I want 2 of the boxes because I want 10 of the Terminators. For pre-order, I would limit you to 1.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that everybody who wants 1 can get 1. And then after the pre-order has happened, and everybody who wanted 1 on pre-order got 1, then you can lift the limit.
Yeah.
And then you can go back in and buy another 1 or buy another 2.
Because that also controls the reseller market in terms of people that split the box as well.
Yeah.
Because I know they're a blight on Games Workshop.
The reseller market.
The reseller market, because it's not just the people that buy 50 to sell 50 of 1 box set. It's the people that buy 50 so they can break the box sets down and then profit from them.
I have legitimately considered doing that as a side business.
Yeah.
Invest, buy boxes, split them down, sell them separately. I can't do it based on morals and principle because money-wise, I think it would just make money.
So contractually, Games Workshop has it for all third-party companies that they sell to that you cannot break down a box. If you want to do it, you have to have purchased them from somewhere else and show that you've purchased it.
So I wouldn't like. you'd have to buy them from an independent retailer, but I think you can buy them actually from GW themselves, not even independent. You can buy them from GW and still split them and make profit. If you buy them from an independent like Element and split them and make profit, you make even more profit because you bought it at a discount in the first instance. I can't do it based on morals because I don't think it's right. No. But people are legitimately making good money off of doing that.
Oh yeah, it's just.
I
feel sorry for the people that just want one. And I've been that person. So I just want one and I can't get it.
Thank you, Jacob, for the 5. It feels like they're releasing 10th sooner than we thought. If so, launch boxes should be in warehouses already. Warhammer Fest release announcement. I would love for them. I really would encourage them to give us a date.
I would.
At Fest, as a person who did the poll yesterday to see how many people were checked out, and seeing a 78% result of people checked out, I would really, really encourage them at Fest to go, here's your new box, and it's coming on this day.
Yeah, I want my dream, the beautiful dream of everyone that bought a fancy ticket, like the 150 quid one, like me.
I have that ticket.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it though.
But so I got given my fancy ticket by my partner. I want, because they're like, you get £150 worth of cool loot. I was like, just give me the Star box set. So he was like, here's the box set now.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, woo! I'd make that noise. Maybe
no, I
louder.
don't think they'll do that.
They won't, but I like to dream.
Have a great time at Games Workshop, says Games in that. Boys, excited for 10th. Yeah, thank you so much for the 5. I'm very excited. And that's why I would like, because they've made me so excited, I would like them to go. And so we've got you all worked up, and here's a date that you can work towards.
Yeah.
Because I had a chat with Adrian last night from Titans, and he's feeling the same way. Like we do game streams every Tuesday and Thursday. Titans do game streams Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and we're all sat there going, "Got to play more 9th edition." I mean, you've got 9 games this weekend of 9th edition, and I'm like, I don't know how you're doing it. If there was no 10th on the horizon, I think I could do 2 and a bit days of gaming. With 10th on the horizon, I don't know how you're doing it. I genuinely don't know how you're doing it.
Because I'm using the Flesh Tearers, I'm excited to use Flesh Tearers, and they're fun and stupid.
But thank you for your first ever Super Chat, Games That You're a Hero. Ear Elephant, thanks for the 10. Speculative thoughts on games are Gene Stealer Cole and Death Guard in 10th. They're the 2 armies I own that can fall flat on their faces or thrive in the new edition. So I think Gene Stealer Cole, I'm hoping we see them monumentally simplified. I don't think they'll do badly.
They were really good in 8th. I loved their Codex in 8th edition. Hated their 9th edition Codex.
Death Guard will be super interesting because they're scaling up durability for Marines in general. So where does that place Death Guard? That'll be really interesting.
Yeah, the thing is though, like if they bring back keywords, then it'll be like poison.
Yeah, I think Death Guard.
I think they'll have the same. They'll have a slightly higher toughness or something, but they'll lean more into the poisons thing. I hope that's what they do. I want G Stealer Cult to remain that really annoying army. I want them to lean more into like the fluff of like just turning signs around backwards so you get lost in the town, like putting punctures in bikes, putting water in petrol tanks. That's what their rule should be. Just being really annoying. Orc army, you've got water in your petrol tanks, none of your cars work.
I think I'm actually not. It's a complete reset, so it's really hard to say how any army or faction will look or work in 10th edition. I think that personally, Gene Stealer Cult have been a bit shitty in 9th because the Codex has been a bit complicated and all over the place.
They're one of those weird armies to write rules for. Yeah. Because Gene Stealer Cult aren't the army that fights the war, are they?
No.
Really?
They're an espionage army.
Yeah,
right?
they're an army that sets things up. It's the same issue that Raven Guard have.
Yeah.
They're like I said, they're an espionage army. They're a stealth army.
Yeah.
Not a straight fight up, very, very close kind of army.
But yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be okay. I don't think, but like I said, it's hard for me to speculate simply because the edition's wildly changing. It sounds like they're literally throwing everything up in the air. If we look at what we've seen from Space Marine so far, I think it looks wildly different. So I don't know. But Gene Stealers are cool, and I can't see them like normally when an army does quite badly, they then almost sometimes go too far the other way. So you might be okay. Is what we're saying. Dan McPhee, thank you for the gifted 1. You're a hero. And then Nervous Magikarp, thank you for the first ever super chat. Will we ever see War Hipster visit for a game? Yes. I have no doubt that at some point in the future, Mr. the War Hipster will come here for a game.
Either.
He's not too far away, but we've already started talking about collaborative stuff in the future that's outside of the gaming channel, because we love Josh. Josh is incredible. Or Posh Joe, whichever you want to call him. ! Posh Joe, if you want to go and check out War Hipster's channel. He streams on Wednesdays. He's like the warm-up act. He streams on Wednesdays at 8:30 before I go live at 9.
Yeah.
But more importantly, he does a ton of amazing painting tutorials on his channel.
If he could do 8 till 9, and then me and him could play earlier on DMZ, because I've got to wait till 10 before he comes on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got to wait for him to sit there. I just cry until he arrives.
Denarian, thank you for the 10. War fund for chili cheese bites to fuel Joe through his 9 games. He's going to need it. I mean, we need to fund Joe's food for the weekend. I've already paid for his hotel.
Yeah. I just want Monster.
There's one in the fridge for you already.
Is there?
Yeah.
It's good service here.
I know. I look after you.
Yeah,
I look after you.
Yeah, I don't. The thing is that everyone's like, oh, what are we going to do in the evenings? Sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm a sleepy boy.
Yeah. But Denarian's paid for some chili cheese bites for you.
Oh, thank you.
Although
I do love chili
the way
cheese
that YouTube works, the money earned now doesn't come until the end of May, so you'll be quite hungry by then.
Well, maybe. Well, currently they're what are they called? The cheese stick things at McDonald's at the moment. What are they called?
Talking of food, we need to go to Morrison's and get some dinner. What are we having for dinner tonight, Jay?
Pie.
You want more pie and chips?
Do I want pie? What am I feeling?
You need to
I had pizza last night.
You need to pick. Well, I don't want pizza. You need to pick something because as of Monday, I'm back on my health kick.
Lasagna. I want a home cooked lasagna.
You're not having
pub
that.
Lasagna.
You're not having a home cooked lasagna. You want to go to the pub? We've got work to do. We've got to get ready for tonight's stream. I'm sorry I work you so hard.
Pie then, I guess. I'll eat it, but I won't be happy about it.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Thursday afternoon, the new home of the Liam and Joe Show. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. I appreciate all the donations. Remembering 10% of it will get donated to charity. Models for Heroes is our charity for this year. ! M4H. M4 as in the number 4.
Halloumi. That's the cheese I was thinking about.
I hate that stuff.
Halloumi fry. That's what they got at the moment. Chili cheese. Yeah, the
!M4H if you want to check out Models for Heroes. You can donate money to them directly as a charity as well as super chatting, or you can also donate your plastic kits that you don't want anymore, and they will use them as essentially modelling based therapy for people that suffer with mental health issues who are in the armed forces, ex-armed forces, emergency services, ex-emergency services. They do some really amazing work. Check out their website, they're great. But thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to everybody who gifted memberships. You guys are incredible. Make sure you all get yourself in the Great Hall server. !Discord. Come and join us. Make sure you link your YouTube account to your Discord account so it unlocks the whole thing. A couple of people come in and be like, there's just announcement threads. That's because you haven't linked your YouTube. If you link your YouTube, it then assigns your YouTube role to your YouTube account, to your Discord account, sorry, and then the whole server opens up. You go, fucking hell, there's loads of threads.
Yeah.
And Starius is talking in all of them. So you can do that. Come and hang out with us in the Great Hall. You also get to enjoy our members-only chat streams on Tuesdays, and there's lots of stuff. And if you want to upgrade, check out the channel. If you've been gifted a membership for 5, you can upgrade for 4. Get yourself in the Jarl's Only giveaway.
Yeah. And then I might get that lasagna lunch.
And you can upgrade to her skull for behind. I haven't done any behind the scenes content for 2 weeks actually. I need to do some behind the scenes stuff. Feet pics, yeah. Right, okay. That's everything. Tonight we are playing another live game of 40k. It's 9th edition. Brom's bringing the knights because we were going to use them on Tuesday. Brom wasn't feeling up to it. Jake was going to come tonight. Jake's not feeling up to it. So Brom's bringing knights because someone said, can we please reschedule the knights game? We haven't seen them for ages. And I said to Joe that he should take Magnus, Mortarion, Angron and Abaddon. And you said no.
I'm taking Abaddon.
Oh, are you taking Black Legion, are you? You've
Black
decided?
Legion.
Okay, perfect.
I'm taking Black Legion.
So that's
a final hurrah.
Yeah. And I might allow you all to torture Brom.
Yeah.
It's fun, isn't it? We're having a laugh. Yeah. Mandy with the late one, are you going to join us on our 2-mile improvement? What? What's that? What's the 2-mile improvement? Message me, Mandy. Thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Or like fixing potholes.
Yeah, possibly. If you haven't already, please make sure you like the stream. You beautiful people. 285 people in chat. There was over 300. Only 212 likes on the stream. It's super important to us. Let us know what you want to see GW not do in 10th edition. Is that right? Did I do that right? Put that in the comment after the stream finishes, because the more comments, the more views we get. It's weird.
More horses.
It's like the algorithm's actually a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are you ready to do your silly goodbye thing?
No.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, have a wonderful time.